is Stronger Than My Father with Marcus Minis.
Welcome to another episode of Stronger Than My Father podcast. Fatherhood Matters. I'm your host, Marcus Minis, founder and executive director of Stronger Than My Father Youth Program. So I am so excited for another episode of delving into tackling issues that affect the fatherless. So I hope you enjoy this next 45 minutes of conversation about the fathers, and our goal is to try to find solutions to curb the cycle of fatherlessness. So I have my co-host, Mr. Harold Simpson. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
And then we have our guest today is Mr. Larry Powell, who is the facility manager at Mount Zion Baptist Church here in Nashville. Larry, welcome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
All right, so you know what this show is about. We are tackling issues that surrounding fathers. So I want you to give my audience a little bit about you and a little bit about your story of your relationship with your father.
Growing up with my father, I'm going to say it was fair, but it was unfair. It was fair because he was in the house. Okay. It was unfair because I wanted him out of the house.
That's weird for people to say that.
Okay. And I recently had a conversation with my sister, which is my father's daughter. Mm-hmm. She lives in Mississippi right now. Okay. And of course, my father, he raised me. He was in the house with me, but he was away from them. And we have another set of brothers that's in Florida. And of course, he was away from them as well. He didn't raise him. And as we all communicated on the phone together, my main thing to him is he was here with me, but I wish he was there with y'all.
Wow.
So don't
go ahead.
So don't hold back our relationship as sisters and brothers and be mad at me because dad was with me, but he wasn't with y'all. The whole time growing up, I'm wishing he was with your mom at your house.
Why would you? That's weird because most kids want their dad around you. Like my kids, like, Dad, I want you. All the time I can be talking to my wife and I can hear my baby boy, Dad. But why did you wish your father was with them?
You gotta think, for the first 25 years of my life, I couldn't come to my dad and just ask my dad simple questions. I couldn't come to my dad and say, what was this? I was scared of my father for the first 25 years of my life. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my father, but I learned to love my father through my faith in Jesus Christ. I was facing a life sentence at 25 years old, and that's when things turned around with me and my father. Growing up, it was rough. I was afraid of my father for the first 25 years of my life.
Why were you afraid? Like beatings or just his tone or demeanor?
Yes,
I mean, because I'm saying I was afraid of my dad, but I wasn't scared of him.
Yes, sir.
I was afraid because of the respect I have for him, but I was never like, I knew that if I got in trouble, I would get a whooping. But just elaborate more about just saying, like, you keep saying I'm afraid. I want to learn more about that.
The tone, the demeanor, like one of the things, like when dad gone, it's all good. We can pretty much run over mom. And my dad, he wasn't a strong whooper, but when he did come, it was like it was all that woofing, like more like that. And it was he was a bigger guy, and he was my dad. And we didn't get along on a lot of levels. We didn't see things eye to eye. Even as a kid, we didn't see things eye to eye.
What things that, he taught you to kind of help shape you to who you are now? Did he give you some skills to help you? Because I understand the anger part or just the woof. And my dad, if I'm going to make sure, because I didn't have a father that woofed a lot. Daddy just told you what you were going to do, and you had to make a decision if you were going to do it or not and face the consequences, but never had a dad that woofed. So I'm just really intrigued about listening more of that.
Yeah. Like every Saturday, of course, it was a demand that we'll cut the grass, show him how to cut grass. I can appreciate that. I like to call him a shade tree mechanic.
Everybody needs a shade tree. You need that.
He was a shade tree mechanic.
Yeah, you need that.
And of course, I learned how to change oil and different parts of a car. Learn different parts of a car by brace and changing a flat and stuff like that. Them things that I can appreciate my dad for. No, just what else you could say? That's he was a good tie. He was a tie man. He was a tie man, you know. And it's some more thing, more like for it on the business side, his hustle mentality. I can appreciate him for his hustling mentality and his business mind. You know, he always had like a little shop or something that was around, you know. But he kept within his life. He kept a shop or two, and you know, things like that. I can appreciate the help molded me. I looked at how he went out and got it.
One thing we talked about, I want to let Harold ask you a question as well.
Yes.
Did you tell me, like, we had a conversation offline that like he taught you how to hustle on the bad side?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to learn more about like why would a dad teach a child how to do something that's bad that can get you time? That's what I can't understand. Because why would I want my child? I'm a dad. Why would I sell my, you know, if I knew how to sell drugs, why would I teach my child how to do that, knowing that he could either die or go to prison?
Yeah. Oh man, I call it now the spirit of Balaam, man, the love, the profit of wicked money, and that's in the Bible. And I realized that's what my dad was suffering from, the spirit of Balaam. But you know, it started as a kid, man. He would have me taking numbers back when it was Lotto and DJ, before the Tennessee Lottery.
I ain't know nothing about that.
And Pick 4, you know anything about that? Yeah. So,
the horses.
Yeah. So, man, here I am, a young kid, man. I'm going in and out of the number house, turning in number tickets.
Wow.
And as I got exposed to a lot, and I never could understand myself, you know, why you constantly want me to be the one turning in your number tickets and supporting your gambling habits. Let me play. Let me be a kid. Let me ride my bike. Let me play basketball in the neighborhood. I don't want to be responsible for turning in your tickets and whatnot. But you know what? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, how did it make you feel? You know, did it make you feel weird? You seen things that you probably as a child didn't need to see?
Oh yeah, that's why I met all of my drug dealer friends and seen the drug dealer friends, the drinking, the number man, the prostitute. Everybody played numbers.
Wow.
And here I am, the kid right here, the little kid coming in, turning in the number tickets.
What age are you doing this?
Man, 10, 11, 12, 13, all the way up until I was about 17, 18 years old. My first charge was a gambling charge where police pulled me over. I was actually going to turn in a ticket for my daddy, and I got that on my record right now.
Dang, can you get that expunged?
Well, I'm looking into that. Yes, okay. Sir. Yes, sir.
I just couldn't understand. Your dad loved the gambling stuff so much where he would put his child through that. Like, what did your dad say when you got that charge at 17? Did he tell you, hey, you need to stop? Let's try to do something different with your life. Did he give you any kind of advice or anything like that?
You know, I never heard anything different. My dad was so hard. You know, I never heard him tell me anything different or anything positive to do. That's deep, bro, that you asked me that. Now, this is my first time really just thinking about that. You know, I never heard my dad say, son, you can go be this. You can throw that football. You can, you can shoot that basketball. I never heard him say anything like that. Always, son, take these tickets to the number store. Or son, help bagging up weed. He had a Mexican plug on weed when we was young. And it was, I can see that I was helping him bag up weed. And sometimes I realized that he was having me dropping the weed off because I was a kid and wouldn't nobody expect me to have the weed.
That's crazy.
And I remember one time the police was at our house and he hands me a 45 pistol, and I said, "Here, take this and walk in the house with it." And he called the shot right. The police never expected it. I walked on in the house, and when they searched him, everything was clear.
Yeah, I'm just trying to baffle. And Harold, please jump in. I'm just baffled. Why would a dad, like, did your dad? And I asked Harold the question on the last podcast. Did your father get taught the same things that he was teaching you? Because things are cycles. You're only going to teach what you know. You're only going to teach what you know. So do you think your grandfather, I don't know if you met him or not, did you believe that he taught your dad the game, and then your dad teach, he thought that was the better way to teach my son the game? That's just something I'm baffled by.
Well, my grandfather, I never met my grandfather. he walked away from my dad when he was 3 years old. My dad said he can remember him walking away. He never seen his father ever again in his life. He tried to go, him and my mom tried to go and, meet with him and so they can meet. They drove all the way to Chicago, winter weather. He was living in Chicago. They drove up and my grandfather at the time, husband, said he was at work and she wouldn't let them in the house. So they turned around and drove back home.
So do you think that some of that effect that happened from your grandfather to your dad's kind of where he kind of molded himself and then put some of these things you because maybe he only knew was the way of hustling.
Yeah, absolutely, because he left home. He left Mississippi at 14 years old and went to Florida on the road, and he was picking oranges, and that was his hustle.
Okay.
Wow. That was your dad's hustle?
Yeah. When he was 14, he left Mississippi, moved to Florida at 14, and he started picking oranges, and that was his means of surviving and while he was in Florida.
Well, that's why I was just wondering because my dad didn't teach me bad things. Let me say that. He always taught me working and providing for your family. He never. I don't know the story like I can't imagine my dad said, "Son, go bag weed up." This is like these things are like baffling me when you tell me these stories. Or go turn in the numbers. Those things is like weird to me. But I've just like I told her, I have an undergrad in psychology, and I'm always wondering why somebody do that. Why would somebody put their child in harm's way? That's harm. I don't know if playing numbers is dangerous or not.
Oh, it is, Mark.
Okay.
Oh, it is, Mark.
Okay. See, I don't know.
Very, very dangerous.
So, and that's why I'm doing this podcast so my eyes can be open to see life in a different way. I want to write a book called "My Journey to Understand the Other Side of Fatherhood" because I believe fatherhood is two sides.
Yes, sir.
So your story is helping me see that a dad would do this to a child. And I don't know if you want to talk about the charge that almost got you life. If you open to talking about that, I would love to hear more of that story. If you open to talking about it. Because, because my question I'm going to ask you for your story is that did your dad, after all of this, when you got older, did he try to talk to you, say, hey, son, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have taught you these things. I should have taught you more life skills. Did he ever apologize to you?
No, we never had that conversation. Wow. And that's what I was saying earlier. But this is how my dad apologized to me. I'm 25 years old. I'm on the 4th floor of the Nashville Justice Center. I'm facing 30 years at 100% for I got drug charges and I got pinned with a murder charge that I did not do. But that's my charge. That's what I'm facing. I'm 25 years old. And the word is on the streets that they'll never see me again. You don't come back from anything like that. And at the time, I just had I had a 2 years old son and I had a 1 year old son. And how my dad started coming back in my life and how my dad started apologizing to me was that every Sunday he'll have my kids there for me to visit. He'll accept the phone call. He'll make sure that I had commissary. That's how he was apologizing to me and saying, son, I messed up. Son, I shouldn't have taught you the things that I taught you. That was his way of saying, I'm sorry, son. And that was my strength to forgive my daddy and to love my daddy and understand the struggles that he went through as a kid and where I was at as a man. And that brought like joy to my heart for him to even be able to bring my sons and to see me and keep them focused inside of my life because I was facing life in prison. I was. They didn't know if I was ever gonna be able to hug him again or man. So that was his apology, and I accept that apology, and that's what made me fall back in love with my dad again.
You know what that is, Mark? That's your father's retribution. That's your father's retribution. That's it. That's him apologizing to you for not being there for you through your kids. And they always say that the grandparents, or the father might have, and with my job that I had previously, the fathers would apologize to the kids for not being there for the son. And I think that's what retribution, what your father probably did, was like, look, I wanna apologize. I'm not gonna tell you sorry because he sounded like he was that type of dude that I ain't gonna tell you sorry, but I'm gonna do it through somebody else, third party. So that's what he probably did, due to the third party, making sure that your kids stay involved in your life, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, one thing I want to get more into this story because I'm intrigued. Well, number one, I'm glad God blessed you not to do life. So that just hearing the word life is scary. I never been in a jail cell. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it smells like. Because I had a dad, like I told in my last episode, my dad worked me to death. And I'm not ashamed to say that. He worked me so hard that Saturday night I was too tired to go out. I was too tired. You get home at 6, 7 o'clock, you've been working since about 7 in the morning, cutting wood. Like this time of year, we cutting wood. And daddy cutting all day. And you done loaded up the truck in the country and you got to unload it when you get home. What am I going to go do? I'm half dead. I'm tired. You know, I mean, I'm saying serious.
Yes.
And then we had to do stuff with tobacco and stuff like that. So my dad made sure he knew the streets were compelling. He knew that, hey, if I don't work my boys, they going to mess up.
Right.
You know, my father had his father. And my dad asked me, hey, you this big psychology guy. You know, how did you know I said, Pop, you had your dad. Yeah. And you took your dad work tactics and you put it in us. My wife already said, you ain't taking my boys to the country and cut tobacco. Because that's what I did. You know, so I want to get back more into your story. How did you, I don't know if the right word say, did you beat your charge, but what happened in that situation that, if you don't mind talking about how God just blessed you in that situation? Because I ain't gonna lie to you, you almost had me crying over here, dude, because I'm like, wow, you know how your father went back and got your kids to come see you and stuff like that. That's moving. That's moving because he's trying to say he's sorry in a certain way. And some men, I'm going to have to do a podcast on this. Some men have a problem saying, I apologize, I'm sorry. Or a father come back and say, I'm sorry, son, for the mistakes I made. And some men are just too macho to say that. And I think sometimes you need, like the day I told you, I apologize to my dad for being a crazy teenage son. And I went back and apologized to him because, you know, when I became a dad, all that stuff hit me of everything I went through with my dad. It all hit me. And I was like, man, I didn't realize he was cutting grass to be with his kids. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know he was making us cut tobacco to be with his kids. All I knew was being with dad, and then church was a luxury on Sunday. It's all I knew growing up from, I say, elementary till I got out of high school. But let me listen more. I can go. But I'm gonna hear more of your story about the charge and how you was blessed to get off.
I was blessed to get out of the charge through God. God had a calling on my life, man.
Okay.
Okay. He had a calling on my life, and I thought it was rapping.
I ain't laughing, but some people
I
want me
thought
rapping.
I was supposed to use my mouth for rapping, but he said,
Okay.
"No, you're gonna use it for something different." And my mom always told me, she said, "Son, if you didn't do it, don't take the time. Don't take the charge. Don't sign. If you didn't do it," she always said that, "don't let nobody accuse you of something that you didn't do." I know I didn't murder this guy that they was accusing me of. So I stood tall. I had to stand tall. And I had to take the state of Tennessee to trial. Now, you could charge me for the drugs. I'll do my time for the drugs. But you're not going to charge me for killing this young man. And I'm going to stand on that. And I stood on it. And I took the state of Tennessee to trial, and they ended up giving me, breaking it down. The jury broke it down and gave me 3 years, and they gave me more charge for the drugs than they did for the murder. And I'm here today.
Well, number one, I'm glad, and I'm glad to see that God opened that door for you, and you using your. I follow you a little bit on social media. The social media I'm trying to do better on.
Yes, sir.
Of how you are using positive words and positive things to inspire today's youth. That's a lot to me because, like I said, I didn't go down that road. I mean, I ain't have the best road, the perfect road. I ain't gonna sit on this podcast and say Marcus Benitez was perfect, but I'm far from it. I'm here because God blessed me,
Right.
and I had two great parents. But some people say the middle child's always the worst child, and I don't know if that's a logic or not, but I was a middle child, and I probably gave my parents the most fits. And I think at 21, I promised my parents I would do right.
That's right.
And I hope to this day at 45, I've kept that promise to them. And it's great to see that you're using your life in a positive way. I'm still baffled by you saying that I wish he wasn't in the home. I wish he was y'all, because that still baffles me.
Well,
because I understand you say you was afraid, but that just
well,
if
he wasn't in the home, I I can say this. I don't want to say too much about my mom. Bless her heart. I love her.
Okay.
And, you know what I'm saying? That might be for another broadcast.
Okay.
But the things that I seen him do when I speak, so we can read between the lines. I didn't like the way he treated my mom.
Okay.
You know, I can say this. My dad was a knockout guy. Women would go crazy over my dad once he walked in the room. So that was problems by itself.
Yeah.
And you can take it from there. I got older. I was in the streets. You know, he was seeing another lady, and I seen you treat this crackhead better than you treating my mama.
Dang.
And I'm older now, so dude, something gonna have to give. And I ended up putting hands on my father. Me and my brother did. But you know, he told my brother, you know, after the fact, he said, "Better look up Marvin Gaye. Have you ever did your homework on Marvin Gaye?" And, you know, so that's when I knew that I had to take it up on my own and leave the house. You know, like I said, I couldn't answer questions. I don't never remember my dad helping me with my homework. I don't never remember my dad even being like a concern. You know, he was always just hooping and hollering and nagging, and you couldn't just communicate with him. He had he wanted to be home, but he had other women and stuff that he was dealing with. That was
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah,
right?
Papa was a Rolling Stone, man.
Let me ask this now: the effect of all of that to where you're at now in your life. Do some of these things affect how you operate now, or you think, hey, I've turned that page in my life. I still have the past. You know, you ain't gonna forget that. That's gonna always be there. But I don't let my past affect what I'm trying to do with my life now.
Well, you look at it. I'm thankful for everything. I want to say that I love my daddy. You know, you got to think, here's a kid that his role model was a big-time drug dealer who brought a brand new Benz from Shaquille O'Neal when he first went to the Orlando Magics.
Wow.
That was my role model. R.I.P. Lil Pete. You look at the situation that my daddy and things that he put me in, and you look at the economy today with mass incarceration, with over 745,000 black men being incarcerated without a father, son without kid, uncles and them nephews that are being incarcerated, that been through the same struggles that I have been through. And God blessed me with a ministry, my own ministry, senior pastor of the trap. So who better to qualify to speak to this generation of people than someone who have been through it and been delivered from it.
Yeah.
So them experiences and everything that I've been through, I feel in my heart has shaped me for this particular moment.
And I think you're right, because someone told me, much as you want to help the father's youth, you're going to struggle because you may not be able to speak to them on their level.
Right.
And I think Harold told me that as well. It's like, but I'm mad because I was like, I want to help you, but they said they may not understand you. And this is weird to me because I have a heart to serve the fatherless. Like that's like my passion, because I want to see you have a better shot at a better life. And that's where I think people like you can help me. People like Harold, like, look, Mark, I got this kid, but I can't reach him, and find a way to reach him through another avenue. Instead of the hardcore way my dad taught me, that might not be the way to reach that kid. And I had to accept that, because I feel like I could reach anybody. But I've been told, don't walk through the projects without me. And I was like, I'm black, they're black. Why can't I walk through the projects and go see somebody? And they was like, you don't look like them. And so I made this guy mad. He was like, I said, but I'm black and you're black. Why can't I go to the project? They said, you too clean, you this. And he told me the last thing he said, I'm going to tell you the last time, don't go through them projects without me. Then I said, you know what? I'm not going through there without you. Yep. You didn't have to tell me that. When he told me that like the third time, because I'm arguing with him, like, I think I can help everybody. But I'm glad you said, hey, what I went through was a moment where I can help this young kid who lives in the projects, who needs help, who has a shot, but I can speak to him in this language. And I'm hoping that you can help me, because I'm going back to the mentoring where my first love is. When you see the name Strong in My Father, God bless me, open the after school program and things like that, but my passion is helping the fatherless. I don't know to this day why that's so strong in my heart. I had a cousin who was 3 that my mom told me to be his big brother, and now he's 23, and I'm still connected to him. And that was my journey to say, why didn't his dad want him? Why didn't his dad want to hug them. You know, every night I look at my boys when they go to bed. You know, those things is like, that means a lot to me as a father. And I see your story, and it just really amazed me how you were able to overcome that. You got a ministry, you're helping people. And I think that that's so amazing where you can use your life as a platform. Harold can use his life. Harold told me about the anger. Like his anger made me angry. Because I was like, why would a dad do that to his child? You know, and I got some very key points Harold said. Empty promises. I don't know if it happened to you. That your dad promised you stuff and he didn't come through for you.
Because it was his promises what he wanted to fulfill.
Wow.
So I was helping him fulfill his promises.
Like with the lotto.
Lotto and turning in them his dreams. That's his promises.
Turning them horse numbers.
He wanted to hit the lottery and wanted to move all this marijuana. And it wasn't out of my thing.
It's for his benefit.
For his benefit.
Well, I your story amazed me, man. It's amazed me how you come out of this. Wow. And you come out of it strong. You're married. You have kids, and I believe that in my heart you're a good father to your kids. And if it
didn't start out like that.
Okay, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you got to think. You wonder, like, everything I've been through, like, why would I turn around and put my sons through the same thing?
Okay,
because that's what I taught. Because
that's a cycle.
Bishop teaches all the time, what you stand under, you understand.
Wow.
But I broke it.
You broke the cycle.
Yeah, I broke the cycle through the power, through the gospel, and showing my son them and showing them a different way. Like, hey, I'm gonna be stronger than my father.
Yeah.
You know, they remember coming seeing me in the prison cells and visiting me, behind a wall and looking at me out the window and waving by and all of that. So it's rough, bro. But I can say this though, man. Out of all things though, I say that I'm just grateful, man. I became a doctor of ministry.
Congratulations.
I became an elder in the church.
Congratulations.
Moving forward with the ministry and going back to speak the same people that prosecute me, speak inside of their building and speak to their people who they have incarcerated, one-on-one mentorship. So, man, stronger than my father, man.
Well, that's the name God gave me, and I believe he gave me that name to address this issue of kids growing without fathers and saying that you can grow up and be stronger. Even my dad said, son, go farther than me in life. I want my two boys to go farther than Wade and Dad. Why would I hold my kids back from their dreams and their aspirations? I want them to go farther than me. I want them, they don't have a fatherhood story. They don't see violence in my home or anything like that, but I want them to go far. Yeah. And whatever God would take them, and I don't talk like a lot because I get emotional, and I think those are things that I want to see out of my son. But your story inspires me. It inspires me to say, hey, I was taught some bad things, but I was able to overcome it, and now look where I'm at. And I think that you didn't become a statistic or you didn't locked up for life. And you said, hey, after your jail experience, I want to make sure I make great decisions. And I want to make sure I'm going to be there for my kids. That's moving. And I think that's what we need more in our community is men saying, hey, yeah, I made a mistake, but I'm going to be there for my kids and give them a shot at a better life and don't let my past affect them. So as we're wrapping up, one thing I do in my podcast is that if a father was listening to this podcast, heard your story, what would you tell that father to do to become a better father? What would you tell him? What can he do? If he's in your situation, what can you tell that father he can do to be a better father?
I said, listen to your kids. Hear them out. Don't always give them a voice. Let them have a voice. Your kid have a voice. And know that your experiences, your life, how you react to things, that matters. And they looking at that and they forming that. They taking that to heed. And you got to be, I don't know, bro. You got to be stronger than your father. Cause that's in the process that I'm being through the word. I don't know how to be stronger than my father except through the word.
I think being there for your kids and showing them a better life, it shows that you're stronger. That's number one. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I think that you being there.
I'm sorry. I can say this through the word. It's a verse in Proverbs. It's 19. correct me if I'm wrong, it's 1925 where I'm gonna paraphrase it, where it's saying that parents be careful because chastise your kids, but you could be a partner. And that hope you can encourage them. You can be a charge partner in what you are teaching them. You know, but in that, you know what I'm saying, there's hope. But that hope is in that struggle. But the inside of that struggle is hope for them to become a better person through Jesus Christ.
Well, man, I accept that, man, because I want to be better. I want to be the father that, you know, the best father I can be for my kids. You know, and when they lay me down on that coffin, I want my boys to say that my dad was a good father.
Amen.
I mean, you know, and rest in peace, Tony, my buddy Tony Whitlow, who passed away a little bit over a month ago. When I saw his two boys, you know, they dressed nice, they looked nice, and they was able to say that, you know, I love my father. You know, what happened to Tony is just unfortunate in life. You know, a drunk driver hit him and killed him. You know, took him away from a wife from 31 years, you know, and that hit me hard. You know, 'cause I said, God, you know, I went to a paranoia state. I was like, God, you going to take me from my kids, my wife. You going to, you start, you know, it messed with you because he was a good father. And I worked with this guy for years. Yeah, and I see what kind of father he was. So those things really hit me hard. I think you got your story, man. It moved me. It really moved me. And I thank you for taking time out of your day to tell us this story, and definitely we're gonna do another podcast together.
Yeah, we
man.
have to.
We you know, but I want to be sure that I leave you the 3 words that my buddy Harold told me. Fathers, always love your children. Love them. Have patience. And what's the 3rd word, Harold?
Love, patience, and time.
Love, patience, and time. Fathers, I encourage you to love, have patience, and take time with your children because they need you. You wouldn't believe it, but your child needs you. So thank you for my producer, Mr. Jim McCartney, for producing this podcast. Thank you, Larry, and thank you for my co-host, Harold, for helping me get through another podcast. May God bless you. Visit us at strongerthanmyfather.org for more information on upcoming podcasts, and continue to support this program as we fight the fatherless. God bless you.